This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, that was yours. I was like, what the fuck is there?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So today I'm actually doing a really fun video. I usually don't do reviews on anime, but this is probably one of the biggest animes of the season that's not Attack on Titan or Demon Slayer. And today I have my friend Nick Pell here, and both of us finished this show just yesterday. And he has also read the manga, so we might have some input on that as well. But yeah, we wanted to talk about this show that has kind of taken the world by storm, it seems. The manga sold out everywhere for the first 2 volumes, and everybody's been talking about this show. And I'll let Nick do the plot because I can't pronounce any of these fucking names, except Gojo, because I got that from Jujutsu Kaisen. But I'll let him introduce the show, and then we'll get to what's great about it, what's maybe not so great, and then we'll give our ratings on the show.
Yeah, so like James said, I'm Nick, big anime watcher, and this is one of my favorite shows of the season. So general plot of the show, we have a guy named Gojo. He's a apprentice Hina doll maker at a shop. It's kind of been his life goal, and he's been apprenticed by his grandpa for quite a while. It's the only goal he's had in his life. And then one day he comes into contact with a very pretty girl in his school, in his class, named Marin, and she eventually discovers that he can sew and thus recruits him to make cosplay outfits for her. And then they start to form a bond in a relationship, and it just kind of goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with these romance shows, and you've watched probably more than me or read more than me, but I do try to read a lot of them. I do like them. But the problem in romance is sometimes they don't really have a plot around. They just have the romance, and then they kind of build something. This feels like this is a plot about cosplay, but we're having a romance on the side of it that really works well. And I just wanted to really talk about the plot of cosplay. I didn't really know much about cosplay. I thought you just put on a costume and, you maybe get a wig or try a little harder. And that's cool. I've seen women cosplay. I've seen guys cosplay. I've seen on Instagram when I went to Comic-Cons, all that. But wow, the amount of work that you have to do, especially if you want to do something professional like, and the way they show how Gojo makes the different costumes, and then also how, what's her name? Marin. How Marin has to kind of really work at it to get the best pictures. And, you don't think about the small things like, I believe it was the second or third episode when they go to their first con and she's just like sweating profusely and can't breathe and it's so hot out, and you're like, wow, you don't think about, wow, that's probably what most cosplayers go through when they go into these big crowded cosplays.
Right, and one thing that also kind of impressed me, and it's mentioned like the afterwards of the manga, is how much research the author took and did to prepare for writing certain scenes, like all the clothing selections that you have to make, the cloth and the different details, and just how much time and effort goes into all this stuff. He reached out to cosplayers, like real life professional cosplayers, to see what their process is, just see, based on the character situations, what the most realistic way to get these items and make it as make it look as good as possible would be. So that's probably part of it. And then obviously Cloverworks, who did the animation, took a lot of that and made the detail for the cosplays and the whole process stand out all the more. And I think we can both probably agree, the animation for the show, just amazing. Cloverworks with both this and another show, Akabe Sailor Uniform, which aired this season as well, both look just fantastic in the animation side, with both the cosplay outfits, the character designs, and just the environments themselves, just the background art and everything like that. It all just looks really, really well done.
Yeah, that was actually my next point, the gorgeous animation. Like the models are great and everything. The character designs are great. And I actually really like that they made her, not like, she does have big breasts, but like her rest of her body, it's slender, and like her ass isn't like super huge, because that's just not her body type. And they actually really focus on different body types in the show, which I really enjoyed. It's not all just the same looking characters. But I did want to say one thing about the animation too. Like you said, the backgrounds, there's some shots in the show that are breathtaking, like her just standing there with the wind blowing, or even him just sitting on the beach. Like there's scenes on there that you can feel the atmosphere so well captured in this scene that I haven't read the manga, but without those colorful backgrounds, sometimes those scenes won't hit as hard. So I gotta give props to the animation there, because as much as I love the design and everything, the animation itself is gorgeous, which I guess you don't usually have to be for rom-coms, but in here with it being a very flashy, very different types of designs, and every character keeps changing their clothes, which is really nice. I one of my pet peeves in anime is that they don't change their fucking clothes.
Yeah.
But I really like that everybody keeps changing clothes, different styles. I just want to ask a question, because you probably know better than me. I thought the manga writer artist was a female, which was like a big controversy, because people are like, oh, there's too much fan service, and then they're like, but it's a girl. That's what she wants. That's what she's gonna put in. So is it a female or is it a male?
I believe it's a female. I guess I haven't looked too closely, but that does sound right from what I remember. Is that is a female author and illustrator.
Okay, I was just making sure, because that leads me to a big plus that I want to talk about, which is turning on the tropes, or on the cliches. Like, this anime really surprised me when they made the two main leads. Usually it's the guy gushing over the girl and too scared to talk about it, and there's still some of that, but she is the one that is just like head over heels over Gojo. Like, she just loves him, and it is so adorable.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't get enough of when she's just kind of just like freaking out every time he puts on different clothes or anything, because it's something you don't see in anime, or in a lot of things. Actually, it's mostly the male's perspective. And I did want to ask, in the manga, somebody commented on my wife's reaction to the episode, saying that in the manga it's actually more the perspective of Gojo, and you don't get those scenes as much. So
yeah, I mean, they're somewhat included. Like, you have like her realizing that she's in love with him and everything. But it is primarily from Gojo's perspective in the manga. So, the anime does take the time to like give a lot more time for Marin's perspective in the show, which is kind of a unique thing. And I'm assuming they collaborated with the author on that to make sure it's all accurate and everything. But it is a really cool difference between the two.
That is awesome to me. Like, I love, see, a lot of the times anime does try to improve the manga or put in things like they're doing, like we were talking about earlier, Attack on Titan. But a lot of the times they kind of sometimes miss the great things. Like, I love the narration from Fly Me to the Moon that I feel is missing in the show. I think it's the funniest part of the thing. So I love the fact that maybe now I want to read the manga just to kind of get that different feel. But yeah, as far as like tropes and cliches, I think that it flips a lot of them in really interesting ways. The ending, I'm not going to spoil, obviously, I thought was a really nice push towards hopefully something big in character development. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but this is a surprise that it does do better than most cliches out there for this genre.
Yeah, and kind of touching more on the cliches. A show like this is obviously kind of super etchy with how Martin's portrayed and like just cosplay in general and the different outfits that she selects and everything. But it also has this like wholesome vibe to it, just like based on Martin's personality, because she's so innocent and just not realizing what she's doing half the time. That it just has this wholesome nature to it, which makes it just really endearing. And I would describe Marin kind of just as just this lovable, whimsical person who's just going through life and just enjoying it. And it puts her in certain situations which Gojo is aware of, but just her naivete to those, it's just kind of, it adds into the comedy and it makes it more wholesome overall, I think.
I agree, which leads me to that big point, or plus for me, is the chemistry between the two. It is a wonderful chemistry, because you have the more, like you said, more energetic, fun, don't live life in other people's views type viewpoint, which is great, to Gojo's, who kind of hid himself from society because of his childhood and being treated like some type of weirdo just because he liked to dress up dolls and stuff. So I really, really like the clash, but when they are together, it somehow works perfect. Like they're perfect together. And I'm going to just combine this with my other point. It is funny as hell when they are together because Gojo's more of a straight person. He is very, like, his reactions to her craziness really add up. There's moments too where she's just like, this is not really spoiler, when she invites him into her room, and he's like, oh my God, I'm going to go into her room. It's a girl's room, blah, blah. And she's like, welcome. And it's like just filled with cosplay of this one character. He's just like, yeah, this is definitely her room. And it was just like, it was just perfect because he lost all that sense of like worry and he just sat down. He's like, this girl's just crazy.
Oh yeah.
Or when she tries to cook for him, there's a lot of great moments between the two. And I think it really leads up to the chemistry between the two. You can't have a rom-com without good chemistry. And these two really play off well off each other. And they do, you can tell they love each other, but they're not quite ready to talk about it, but you
Mhm.
get the expression from both of them, which is nice. Like they're not hidden feelings. Like you can tell that these
Yeah.
two are going to be the long term. They better be. Don't fuck with me, show.
Yeah,
But
that's one thing that is definitely one thing that I like is that with a lot of rom-coms these days, you see them you see the male main characters put into more of like a harem situation more often than not. But you do have Marin primarily as just like the sole female love interest in his life, which is really kind of refreshing because you have Juju who's introduced about midway through, but she's there. She and her sister are there for like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and then they're gone for the rest of the show. And
yeah,
so they don't really stick around long enough to like leave a massive like romance option impression in his mind. So it's kind of nice to have just that sole love interest and have them just have the show solely focus on their love or their chemistry and their romance side of things. And I also wanted to bring up something that you touched on a little bit earlier about the show focusing on different body types for the cosplayers, which kind of leads into the two sisters because you have Juju, who is a more well-known cosplayer at the time of the when she's introduced,
yeah,
who has kind of a shorter height to her, and so she can focus on these more like kid-like characters, which she ends up cosplaying in the show. But then she also ends up bringing up a point later on um, with her sister, in that there's certain cosplays that she just can't pull off or that she doesn't want to pull off because it's not authentic to the character. And I really liked seeing that duality with both Marin and Juju, and they're both similar and varied perspectives on cosplay and what kind of outfits they want to portray down the line.
yeah. So that's the younger sister, the older sister, right? Juju.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
so funny, Juju and then Gojo and Juju.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so I actually really do like the character Juju. I think like most of the fan service in the show actually is pretty cute and it's
Yep.
done in a very innocent way, which is nice, like you said. Juju's introduction, not so much. I thought
Yeah.
that was the one scene I didn't really love, but after that initial thing, I actually really did like Juju. She has this very like serious. She takes it really serious, and
Yep.
I think that's different than all the other characters in the show because they're all like kind of either learning about it or they take pictures of it or they're creating costumes. But she is like, this is my job. This is something that I love to do. That I'm trying to prove myself.
Right.
And I do like that perspective that she doesn't want to just cosplay anything because if it doesn't feel right to the character, it's a waste of time. So I did like her a lot. My negative is her sister.
Oh, interesting.
I
Okay.
I really didn't like this character for two big reasons. One, I hate when they do the fan service of making the smallest, youngest character the biggest breast, the biggest.
Oh, yeah. That's fair.
Like it just felt weird that this middle schooler looked way older than them too. So I didn't love that, but more so to the character, I didn't. I don't like that typical like quiet character who's like scared of her own shadow. I did like eventually what they did with her cosplaying as a man. I thought that was really interesting, and I think
Mhm.
that they can build on that. Like maybe if that character feels more comfortable in that skin, that might be a really cool like storyline we can go with. But as far as the
Mhm.
character, we spent almost like 2 episodes of her, like really focused on her, like an episode and a half. And
Mhm.
for me, that was like the only episode where I was like, I don't really care about this character. Now that could
Yeah.
happen to anyone that there's characters you get attached to, but for
Yeah,
me,
I think it's
that was the
also
weakest.
just kind of used as a route to show the side of cosplay where you have like females like cosplaying as male characters
Yeah,
and kind of doing that whole process and like having to make their chest look more masculine and having like wider shoulders and a flatter chest obviously, and showing the different aspects that can go into that. I the body size thing with her, I think I'm just used to it at this point with like
yeah.
it being an anime trope. Because you have all the time characters who look like they should be like in their 30s, but they're like, oh, I'm 15. Like, okay, sure. Um, so I
Especially in
just kind of
Japan. I mean, it's a little
yeah,
ridiculous, but
yeah. So it doesn't really phase me as much as it used to, which is good or bad. Um, but yeah, that's just kind of throwback or going back to what you were saying with the body type there. The last thing that I kind of wanted to touch on, just me personally, was the OP or the opening sequence. I think that was really stylishly done, and again, alluding to the animation, color works, just showing off both Martin and Gojo, and then also they have like 15 seconds or so of just like rotating shots of Martin in different outfits. Not all of which are shown in the show, obviously, but it's just really impressive how much time they probably had to take to come up with all these different styles, because I don't think most of them are even in the manga that I've gotten through so far.
Yeah, there's like one or two of the costumes,
like
but there's so many. Yeah.
So that's just one thing that was always a highlight, and then also the song too. It's just a really fun one to listen to. I'll bring it up in my car a lot of time when I'm driving to work.
It's very cute.
It's a cute one. Yeah.
It's not like over the top. I don't know if I would say it's one of my favorite. Like right away, Fly Me to the Moon's opening really got me. Like the mix of the two sounds, like kind of like a soft cut and then the like fucking techno craziness was really good. This was more like like very kind of chill. I do like it, and I love the opening itself, like you said, the animation. Would you say there's anything bad for you? Really, the only bad thing to me was the little sister story arc. I didn't really love that for the show for me.
I only have like a very minor thing, which is kind of a general thing for a lot of slice of life shows and manga, is that there's not, at least for this show, there wasn't a lot of like drama or like conflict necessarily. So I still really enjoy it, obviously, as has been made evident. But I wouldn't have minded like some sort of like larger conflict, because the majority that we have is towards the beginning, with Gojo feeling like he doesn't want to make Martin embarrassed of him in school by being his friend and everything. And so once that's kind of covered and dealt with, then it's pretty much smooth sailing for the majority of the rest of the show. So I assume there's something down the line, but it also comes into play with like what I mentioned earlier about it not really being a harem show. There's no other love interest, so there's no drama in that aspect, which again, not a bad thing. But I wouldn't have minded to some extent some larger or some conflict to some extent down the line with either like her needing an outfit for a certain event and some sort of snag happening with him then to produce a last minute version or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely feels very I don't want to say safe, but it feels like very much that, like I said earlier, and it is kind of a plus and a negative, is that it is focused on the cosplay aspect, and you do learn a lot here, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds me a lot of, I think it's called Blue Paint or Blue
Blue Period.
Blue
with
Period.
Like the art painting one. Yeah.
Read that, absolutely did not like it.
Wow.
I was bored out of my mind, and I think that the difference is I actually was really interested in cosplay after I started to learn about it. I don't give a shit about painting, so it was just like really boring where he's just talking about how to do strokes, and so I was like, dude. But the outside stuff of that show, or sorry, that like the relationship having I think it had a trans character in it, and it just casually.
The anime just came out a couple seasons ago too. And so I know.
Oh, the anime. Okay. I didn't even know there was anime. I just read the manga. I was like, this is really popular. Everybody's talking about it, and I just couldn't get into it. Whereas this was the opposite effect. But with those shows, focusing on a main plot point like painting or cosplay, I think that's it. Like you said, though, I do feel like the progression toward the characters, there's moments, and it's great to get that in the last 10 minutes, but like, where's the other fucking 6 episodes of like not much progression? Now there are moments in here that I feel like they do build towards that, but a lot of it's fun. But the thing is, the show wouldn't work if it wasn't as funny. I think that they were like, well, we're just gonna make it more casual, starting to fall for each other and make it funny. And I didn't mind. I do agree that is a problem I have with slice of life. Sometimes it's that it's just so much of the same shit. But if you can keep me entertained and I'm laughing almost every episode, then I think the show is on the right track. So I did want to say before we give our rating, do you have a particular favorite episode of this season?
Let's see. Off the top of my head, I I like the beach episode a lot because it kind of confirms Marin and Gojo's like for like continuing relationship. It kind of sets her up as like knowing her feelings for him, and then also just him acknowledging that like, oh, we're gonna still hang out, and this is just gonna be kind of, it's not just gonna be like a one time or a couple time thing. Like we're gonna keep hanging out and doing stuff in the future. So
yeah,
I like that one.
That was an excellent episode. It to me is really hard because there's parts I love in every episode. I was thinking about it yesterday, and the funniest to me is episode 11.
Yeah,
I think it's the funny. Even before we get to the big scene at the end, everything before that was making me laugh. And it was very cute, and the ending was very hot. Like they went all on where it was like getting close to being like, oh, this is R-rated. But I really think that the either that would probably be the funniest, but for me, obviously the last episode is probably the most character progression towards getting somewhere new. It also had like a weird Ring / Texas Chainsaw crossover that I didn't know I wanted. And then I saw her watching this video of the Ring with the fucking chainsaw. And I'm like, I would watch a whole anime of this. But that was just nuts. But yeah, I really like, I would say episode 11 probably overall my favorite. I could probably rewatch that episode a few times, but 12 really hit me in the feels, and that beach episode. And of course, episode 3 at the end with the train. Is that episode 3?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that was probably one of the best scenes for me in romance, just because it was so well done. The music, the timing, the ending, and her face are just perfection. But yeah, so great show. I'll say my rating first. So as far as a show that really surprised me, I did not really have any expectations for this show. I was kind of blown away in a lot of ways. It's not perfect, and there are 2 episodes almost dedicated to the little sister, so it kind of like took it a little bit away. But as far as a smart, fun, beautifully animated show, I can't give it any less than like a 4.5 out of 5. Like it is really high for me. I'll definitely rewatch the show again.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, pretty solid for me. It's probably going to be in my top, if not top 3, top 5 of the season. Because I watched like 30 shows this season.
God damn.
But yeah, I mean, it's got really solid animation, characters that you gotta love. Really good job on the romance side of things. So for me, I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. Because I think there are still things they can improve on. It's not like a master class like some other shows I've seen have been. But it's still really solid. I really enjoyed it quite a lot. And with it having 9 volumes in Japan right now, and the anime going up to volume 5, I presume that in the next 3 or 4 years we'll probably get a season 2 to some extent. So look forward to that.
Yeah, I would be surprised if we don't get a season 2. If the author keeps up with the pace, I assume we'll get a season 2 no later than the end of 2023, just because of how big a hit this was.
But I also remember that animation studios take at least 2 or 3 years usually to plan out a show. So if it's not already like set on their schedule, set in stone that they're going to do this, then it can take some time to adapt it, especially if they don't have all the chapters that they want to adapt written yet. So
this is true. Well, I hope it comes out sooner than later. I really did like this one. Okay, so if you guys haven't seen this show, we both highly recommend it. Obviously, would you say the manga's worth picking up to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a pretty like solid adaptation. I don't think it missed or skipped like any of the source material that I can think of, because I read the manga pretty close to when the show was coming out. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't leave out anything. Volume 5 comes out in April. So then once that is out, it'll be up to date with the anime, and then after that point, it's all fresh territory. So
great, another series to collect. But no, it is out now. So if you watch the show, the time you probably finish it, if you're watching this now, you're like, oh, I'm going to start the show. The time you finish it, all 5 volumes will probably be out, and then you can read that again, and then new stuff. But I hope you guys check it out. If you have watched the show, if you loved it, let us know why. If you hated it, let us know why, because I just need to know. I've seen some people just really hate this show, and I'm just not sure why. Popularity, whatever the hell it is. But I really would like legit reasons. I would love to hear. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. We will probably be back for more anime reviews if we ever do them, because pretty much Nick here watches as many animes as I probably read manga. So it's a good
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
a good give and take there. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, check out My Dress Up Darling. I always call it My Darling Dress. Wait, what is it?
My Dress Up Darling, and it's available on
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll since Funimation's dying right now. So yeah, check it out there.